Well, here I am with my Honeybee King 3 RC helicopter. What a great beginner package this has been for me. I started out with coaxial helicopters and progressed up to the Blade MSR, and then decided to go into collective pitch helicopters, and this one has been just an extraordinary learning machine, and I wanted to post this video and talk a little bit about some of the modifications that I've done to it to make it a great beginner RC helicopter. Some of you have watched my videos and have seen me progress from flying with the training gear on outside, just learning to hover, to eventually moving up to taking the gear off and flying it high into the sky, forwards and backwards, keeping the tail in the entire time. And then I've also been flying some great swooping figure 8 turns lately, and have not done anything on a simulator, so it's all been in the real deal, flying across the sky with a real machine. And I wanted to talk again about some of the things that I've done to make this a great beginner machine. We'll start with a lot of the parts that are stock. The motor is stock, all 4 servos are stock, along with the gyro, which is held up pretty well in hovering, although with a lot of wind it does not hold the tail extraordinarily well, and I've not been flying any 3D, so it has handled well though with the turns that I've been making and some of the small hovering that I've had to do, like when landing and just coming back in. I also wanted to talk about this great Blade 400 main gear and one-way bearing. That has held up. It really works to keep the helicopter from having a wobbly gear, and is available locally if you strip it, so a lot of hobby shops are carrying that. The tail fins here are not stock. They are the carbon tail fins for the Honeybee King 2, and I found that modification online to be able to change it so that it would fit on the tail box right down here, and there's an extra clamp that I've installed to make that work. What you have here is stock head pretty much. The blades are the Honeybee King 2 version, and I had to drill the holes a little bit larger so that they would fit the bolts on these blade grips. But I like the Honeybee King 2 blades. They're a little bit cheaper, and they're a plain design, so they don't have all the fancy red stuff on it, and I like the more plain look with the helicopter. I also put a Spektrum radio system in right from the start, so you can see one receiver over here connected to the additional receiver over here, and that worked really well to allow me to connect the helicopter to my DX6i radio and be able to fine-tune it so that I can really get a good trainer helicopter out of this machine. I also put an E-Flite speed controller in. I was having some problems recently with the stock speed controller, and that was giving me a few troubles on the spool up on the second battery when things would be a little bit warm, and I was getting a jittery motor, and so I installed this speed controller so that I would have a little bit more peace of mind. I did put a little bit of weight in the nose, and I actually used a brass nut that I installed in the nose with some really strong double-sided tape, and that gives me a little bit more nose weight to balance the helicopter. I've been using some 1500 Zippy Flight Max batteries that are pretty lightweight and really do provide 8 to 10 minutes of flying time on a pretty fast head. So definitely a great trainer machine. I would recommend the Honeybee King 3 to anyone, and I really believe that this is a fine machine to get started with. And if you go to Jag Hobbies online, you can order a lot of the parts for it, which I've had to do a number of times, and this really becomes an awesome beginner helicopter. All right, let's go fly.